Здрасте, с вами Дэш, и сегодня мы будем продолжать проходить такую игру, как Stanley. Да, наконец-то. Да, нас тут приветствуют, сценарий. Это уже что-то интересное. Такого у меня не было. О, милота. Да и только. А если я нажму? Ладно, я не буду пока это проверять. А время? Типа так? Боже, сколько много ползунков. Это, наверное, вот я вспомнила в прошлый раз. Вот главный такой: я люблю ползунки, я вам сделаю больше ползунков. И вот, пожалуйста, у нас много ползунков. Какой из двух этих выдуманных слов нравится вам больше? Купинка, скрумтуш. Какие интересные слова. Еще бы знать, что они значат. Ну, думаю, этого никогда не узнаем. Поэтому я выберу скрумтуш. Он как-то выглядит, он как-то звучит поприкольнее, что ли. А дайте мне время. Не перетаскивайте ползунок. А я хочу. Моя душонка хочет переместить этот ползунок. Давайте всем. Ну да. Боже, так спрашивают. Сейчас действительно столько времени. Ну да. Что такое время? Мне нравится да. Отличные варианты. Что такое время? Да. Просто да. Но это еще нет. Что такое время? Нет. Вы скрываете от меня какой-то факт про себя? Что я могу скрывать? Я даже ничего до этого не говорила. Нет, я ничего не скрываю. Я люблю кошек. Помогите. Такое чувство, как будто как его главный редактор, сценарист, тот, кто делает ползунки, просто такой: помогите. Если вас держат в подвале, просто сделайте еще ползунки. Да, окей, я тебе помогу, чел. Зайдите ко мне повидаться. Да, конечно. Боже, можно мы начнем игру? Мне как-то это не по себе. Просто у меня сейчас время ровно, ну ладно, еще не не ровно, в общем 21:59. И как бы такие эти ползунки с названием «Помогите», причем когда я одна дома, мне это как-то... Я хочу побывать звук. Боже, мне нужен звук. Но, кстати, меня времени не спросили. Почему? Начать игру, выйти автору. Ну, давайте продолжим. Итак, в прошлый раз мы довольно быстро закончили эту игру. У нас появились титры. Поэтому мы немножечко пойдем по другому пути. Я думаю, какому? Я думаю, пойдем все-таки по правильному. Я, честно, не знаю, сколько тут концовок, сколько тут вариантов можно сделать. Сначала будем делать по нашей интуиции, а там...
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Я это уже смотрела. Спасибо.
Stanley worked for a...
Я хочу... Давайте... Ну ладно, пойдем. Идем
All of his
навстречу.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Да, все пропали. Две
When
двери.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Окей, левая так левая.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find coming to a staircase. Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Кстати, было закрыто. Видимо, главный диктор побоялся, что мы спустимся вниз. Вроде как бы я хочу сделать правильно, как он говорит, пойти наверх, но с другой стороны такой... Ладно, мы сделаем, мы еще успеем это сделать, а пойдем пока вы наверх. Тык-тык-тык. Ой, она открылась. Because the boss knows... Босс знает... Боже, у меня плохой английский, чуваки. Босс сказал... Что он сказал? Да. Я не знаю, я не понимаю, я не хочу это проверить. Кто закрыл дверь? Кто снова закрыл дверь? Мне это не нравится. Кто позакрывал мои двери? А эти я не могу открыть. Почему? Почему? Ничего. Ой.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
Кстати.
Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret pin number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Oh! 20... Подожди, какой-то... Правильно? Подожди,
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
40. Спасибо. Я тупой.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Все было декорацией. Все было лишь декорацией. А что делать? Там темно опять. Я не хочу туда. Почему меня окружает какая-то темнота? А можете вызвать лифт? Опять. Я не хочу опять прыгать в какую-то неизвестную. Ой, ладно. Была не была. Кто не рискует, тот не пьет. Тут лифт. Темно так, как в жопе. Куда же нас приведет этот лифт? Может, мы станем пещерниками?
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Че за... Я могу наверх.
Whoops, nope, never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up. Silly me. Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out.
Не волнуйся, сейчас, я вернусь вниз сейчас. А я могу снова вниз? А не могу вниз. Че, вообще не могу вниз? Блин, я все запарила. Не получилось. Возвращаемся.
Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have, an incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow! I'm bolted to the edge of my seat.
Oh.
Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this?
Да я импровизатор просто. Снова лоудинг, третий раз. Но на этот раз... А если мы снова вернемся вверх? Он что-нибудь... Я думаю, он найдет.
Surely this time Stanley will walk forward into the spooky corridor, won't he?
Пройду. Я чё, стекло, что ли?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
А мы можем туда? Ну окей, хорошо. Мы это потом сделаем. Как темно.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold?
Вот это понимаю. Вот тут будет хорошо смотреть 4К. Вот так вот и выглядит ваше 4К. О. Новые пути. Что тут у нас? Я думаю, ничего тут интересного не будет, поэтому нажимаем.
Now the monitors jumped to life.
Ой,
their true nature revealed.
еще кабинеты.
Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Ну поедем, чё нам? Чё уж нам терять?
He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control. Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Всегда будет небо, Боже, где я?
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Я не могу нажать на красную кнопку. Как мне все это закончить? Хороший вопрос. О, ну мы тоже можем сюда нажать. А как? А что? А зачем? А почему? А, вот там что-то есть. 5. Ага. Ой, так что, кто все? Я пойду смотреть кинотеатр.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power. Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls.
А что за машина?
After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted?
Control? Я возьму эту игру под контроль.
I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are?
Да.
A moment of solace before you're obliterated?
Да, хочу.
All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free.
Фиговое освобождение.
Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone.
Бывает.
Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock.
Диктор, мне не до тебя, у меня тут интернет пропал.
Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off?
Как бы да, я пытался, я делал, что все, что в моих силах, но...
Screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones, or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is?
Чтобы убить время?
Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment.
Диктор
But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until
Давайте отсчет до Нового года, хоть сейчас и ноябрь. Давай, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Новый год! Хоть и ноябрь. Прикольная концовка. Ничего не скажешь. Я так понимаю, мы возвращаемся назад. Ай, мать Божья. Так.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Идем.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Я послушный бот, который выполняет задания.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's coming to a staircase. Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Стэнли пошел вниз. Стэнли не пошел наверх. Ты убил Стэнли.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Не, Стэнли, ты не в порядке. Я все еще здесь.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice?
Кто я? Кто я такой? Боже, что за звуки? Мы что, по альбому как?
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Мариэлла? Что за
Mariella woke up on a day like any other.
Диктор, ты нас поменял на
gathered her
Мариэллу?
belongings and walked to her place of work. But on
Понятно.
this particular day, her
Stanley
walk was interrupted by the
сошел.
body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself,
Ну да.
then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange
Почему?
man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And
Да,
in
ну,
that moment,
и как же?
she thought to herself how lucky
В
she was
рубашке,
to
в
be normal.
штанах
I
и в
am sane.
ботинках.
I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life.
Поэтому
She had
Мариэлла
no time
прошла
for this,
мимо.
so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Класс. Хорошая история жизни Стэнли. Да. Мы узнали, что диктор стер всех, а еще, что Стэнли, видимо, сумасшедший. И я предлагаю на таких двух концовках
All his co-workers were gone. What could it
завершить
mean?
данную
Stanley
серию.
decided to go to the meeting room.
Всем
Perhaps he
спасибо
had
за
simply missed a
просмотр,
memo.
всем удачи и всем пока.